What happens when you come back 50 years later to the exact place where your life began? And what does that have to do with sexual empowerment? Stick with me. Today, I'm standing in a very special place for me. This hospital behind me, Hadassah and Karem in Jerusalem, is where I was born 50 years ago. Being here today feels special. On one level, it's just a building, but on another level, this is where my nervous system took the first breath, where my life started, where my story began, long before I was conscious of it. And that makes me reflect on something deeper. Becoming a more conscious, embodied man is not only about improving myself, healing myself, or becoming a better version of myself. It's also about having the courage to look back and ask, what actually shaped me? And how can I integrate that? Many men want transformation without understanding their conditioning. They want confidence, sexual control, presence, freedom, but they don't look at the emotional environment that form their nervous system. This is where my work with sexually empowering men usually starts at the beginning of my courses, because sexuality does not start in adulthood. It starts much earlier, in the emotional atmosphere we grew up in the energies that surrounded us as children. A theory that helped me see my own patterns more clearly, not as random, not as just preferences, but as something deeply rooted, is the core erotic theme developed by Jack Morin. In my case, growing up, my father had a very dominant presence. I remember feeling tension in my body around that energy, a kind of discomfort, alertness, even intimidation at times. And years later, I noticed something very interesting in my sexuality. I was often attracted to partners with a similar dominant energy. But now, as an adult, that same energy became something I wanted to engage with, play with, even enjoy, not from helplessness, but from choice. That realization was powerful, because it showed me that I was not broken. My erotic mind was intelligent. It was trying to transform an early emotional experience into something conscious and embodied, to show me that dominance can be something to play and enjoy rather than to fear. Over the years working with men, I saw that this kind of reflection can create a huge shift for them. Instead of asking, what is wrong with my desires, to ask, what part of my history is living inside my desires? There's another root that shaped me just as deeply. Growing up in Israel, the sense of belonging to family is very strong. Family here is not distance. It's emotional, close, involved. People show up. They argue loudly, they celebrate intensely, they stay connected. As a child, you don't analyze this, you absorb it. It became part of my nervous system. Looking back now, I can see how this strong sense of we shaped the way I relate. Also in intimacy, in longing for connection, the desire for emotional depth, the importance I put on presence in relationship. They didn't appear randomly in my adulthood. They were rooted in the environment I grew up in. And now, at 50, coming back to this place where my life began, I don't feel like I'm just returning to the past. I feel a quiet recognition. This is part of me, and I'm more than this. Owning my roots in Jerusalem, owning the strong family imprint I receive, owning the environment I grew up in, this doesn't limit me. It gives me stability, depth, a foundation, from which I can believe in a bigger future. A future where belonging is not only to tribe, not only to nation, not only to family, but to humanity. So the real question I have for you is not only where were you born, but what emotional environment shaped you? What energies were present in your home? How did they influence your sense of safety, your way of relating, your sexual desire? If this resonates with you and you would like to go deeper into that, check my offers on my website. Take care and see you in the next video.